The cracked screen of my old iPad lit up with a bank alert that was not mine, and I stayed quiet while something inside me snapped. It said the words "final installment" and my fiancé's name, and I did not even breathe because if I did, I thought I might fall apart. My name is Tegan. I am 28, and I work as an auditor for a mid-sized construction company, the kind of job where you learn to spot the lie hiding in plain sight. That night, I was sitting cross-legged on the living room rug with a takeout container getting cold beside me, the air smelling like soy sauce and printer paper. I had been reviewing invoices on my laptop, trying to get ahead before month end. My fiancé, Reed, had left his iPad at my place again. He always did. He said it was because my Wi-Fi was faster, but I knew it was because he liked how I took care of the little things without making him ask. The iPad buzzed, once, then again. A notification slid across the top of the screen. Transfer complete. I glanced up automatically, more annoyed than curious. Reed had been complaining all week about money. He had said his job in marketing was unstable, that his boss kept moving deadlines, that he felt stuck. I had offered to cover a little more of the wedding costs, and he had kissed my forehead like I was the sweetest thing on earth. The notification had his banking app logo. I told myself I was not snooping. I was not hunting. I was just trying to make the buzzing stop, so I tapped it. My thumb recognized his passcode because he never bothered to change it, because he trusted me, or because he thought I would never use it. The screen opened to a transfer receipt. Final installment received. Sender, my father. Amount, $50,000. My vision tunneled so hard the room went dim around the edges. I remember the exact sound of my own swallow, thick and ugly, like my body was trying to keep the truth from going down. My father does not randomly send anyone $50,000. My father hates sending me $200 for groceries when my car breaks down. My father is the man who called a family vacation a luxury when I was 12 and asked for new sneakers because mine had holes. So my hands started shaking, not dramatic shaking, quiet, betrayed shaking, the kind you try to hide from yourself. I clicked the note attached to the transfer. For keeping the timeline clean. She will understand later. Timeline. Clean. She. I stared at the pronoun like it was a knife, because I knew, in my bones, that I was the she. I was the problem being managed. I was the inconvenience being scheduled around. I switched to his email because the banking note felt like a trailer to a movie I did not want to watch. There was a thread pinned at the top. It was not even hidden. It was right there, bolded like a bruise. Subject, next steps. Sender, my father. I opened it, and the room went so quiet I could hear the refrigerator click on. Read, this cannot drag into the summer. The family needs a clean narrative. You have been patient. Your reward is secured. When you end it, do not blame anyone. Say you are overwhelmed. Say you are not ready. Do not mention money. Do not mention my name. Then, a second email. My cousin, Waverly, replying from an address I recognized because we had grown up together, and she used the same email since high school. I can handle Tegan. I always have. Just do it soon. She is starting to ask questions about the guest list. My throat made a sound that did not count as a sob. It was more like my body trying to expel something poisonous. Guest list. Waverly was supposed to be one of my bridesmaids. She had helped me pick out centerpieces. She had hugged me in the bridal shop mirror and told me I looked like I finally got my happy ending. I scrolled. My fingers were numb, but they kept moving anyway, like muscle memory. There were more messages, more dates, more casual cruelty. My father comparing me to Waverly like I was a spreadsheet entry. Tegan is reliable but plain. Waverly attracts the kind of attention that matters. Her family connections will help you. She will elevate you. Tegan will only work harder. She will never be the face. Then my father again, the line that took the air out of my lungs. Tegan will do what she always does. She will stay quiet. She will adjust. She will move on. I read it once. Then again. Then my eyes locked onto the part my mind kept trying to blur. My own father had paid my fiancé to leave me. Not because Reed was dangerous, not because he was unfaithful, not because he hurt me. Because, in my father's mind, I was not the right investment. My chest tightened like a fist closing. I could not cry. I could not even blink properly. I just sat there staring at the screen while my engagement ring felt suddenly heavy, like it had turned into a metal weight around my finger. I thought of every Sunday dinner where my father shook Reed's hand and called him a good man. I thought of every time my mother smiled too hard and said, "We are so lucky you found someone." I thought of Waverly laughing beside me in the kitchen, stealing bites of frosting from my cake tasting like we were still kids. It all rewired in my head in seconds, like a photo turning into a different photo when you tilt it. This was never my wedding. It was a plan. And the worst part was how calm the emails were, how logistical, like my life was a project timeline, like my feelings were weather, unfortunate but manageable. My first impulse was to scream, to call Reed and spit the words at him until my throat bled, to drive to my parents' house and throw the iPad on the table during dinner and watch everyone's face collapse. But I did not do any of that. Because the second my father wrote, "Tegan will stay quiet," something cold and steady settled in me. Fine. I would. I would be quiet in the way a locked door is quiet, in the way a trap is quiet. I took a slow breath. I set the iPad on the coffee table like it was fragile. Then I grabbed my phone and opened my notes app, the one I use at work when I find a discrepancy and I need to document every step. Time, date, screenshot. I went back and took screenshots of everything. The transfer receipt, the notes, the email chain. I emailed them to myself. Then I saved them to a cloud folder Reed did not know existed, the one I made years ago after my father taught me that people can smile at you while they take from you. My hand stopped shaking. That scared me more than the shaking did. Because when my body goes still, it means my mind has already decided. Reed texted me right then, like the universe was trying to test how well I could pretend. "Hey babe, running late. Big day tomorrow, miss you." I stared at the message until the words stopped looking like language. I typed back slowly. "Miss you too. Get some sleep. Proud of you." Proud of you. I watched the message deliver and felt like I had just handed him a rope, neat and folded. The next morning, I did not call out of work. I went in. I smiled at my coworkers. I sat at my desk and did exactly what I always do. I followed the paper trail. At lunch, I stepped into an empty conference room and called a lawyer. I did not say it was about heartbreak. I said it was about financial interference, coercion, and potential fraud. The lawyer's voice sharpened immediately, the way a professional's voice does when they realize this is not just messy, it is documented. "Do you have proof?" she asked. I looked at my screenshots. "Yes," I said, "I have proof." Then I called a second person. Not Reed. Not my mother. My brother, Graham. He picked up on the second ring, cheerful, distracted. "Hey, Teags, what's up? Are you still coming to Dad's charity thing on Saturday? Waverly is bringing some friends. She said it's going to be a big networking night." Saturday. Charity thing. Networking. Timeline. Clean narrative. My stomach turned, but my voice stayed soft. "Yeah," I said, "I will be there." After I hung up, I sat in my car and stared at the steering wheel until my palms left damp prints on the leather. They were going to parade their new story in front of a room full of people. They were going to paint me as the sensible girl who simply understood, the practical one, the one who does not make scenes. And Reed would stand there with Waverly, wearing the same charming smile he practiced on me in restaurant mirrors, letting everyone believe the breakup was mutual and mature and inevitable. I realized then that my father did not just want me gone. He wanted me cooperative. He wanted my silence to bless the betrayal. So I decided my silence would do something else. That night, Reed came over with flowers like nothing was wrong. He kissed me on the cheek, smelling like cologne and confidence, and asked if we could talk after dinner. My heart did not race. It did not shatter, it just watched him. He started with the gentle tone, the rehearsed softness. "Tegan, I have been thinking and I just want what's best for both of us." I nodded slowly, like a woman who has no idea her life is on a leash. "I understand," I said. "I have been thinking too." His shoulders dropped, relief flashing across his face for a split second before he covered it with concern. That tiny relief told me everything. We ate dinner, we talked in circles. He tried to be noble, I let him. And when he finally reached for my hand and said he was not ready for marriage, I smiled and whispered the sentence that made his eyes flicker. "It's okay, we should keep the timeline clean." He froze, just for a beat, just long enough. Then he recovered and laughed nervously like I had said something cute. I stood up, walked to my closet, and pulled out my dress bag. I set it on the bed, unzipped it, and ran my fingers over the fabric like I was saying goodbye to a version of myself who believed love was enough. Reed watched me like he was waiting for tears. I gave him none. Instead, I said, "We should still go to my dad's charity night on Saturday, just to show there's no drama. You know how my family is." His face softened into gratitude. "Yeah," he said, "that's a good idea." Of course it is, I thought. Because on Saturday, in that room full of smiling donors and clinking glasses, I was going to let everyone see how clean a narrative can be when the receipts are printed in high resolution. Hold on, tiny break. When I'm exhausted from editing, your comments are what keep me going. Like, subscribe and tell me your city, state, or country. All right, back to the story. On Friday afternoon, I walked into a print shop near my office and asked the clerk to laminate a small stack of pages. I told her it was for a presentation. She smiled, unaware she was helping me sharpen a blade I would never swing loudly. Then I drove home, put the laminated pages into a plain folder, and placed it carefully into my purse, right beside my lipstick and my car keys. When Reed texted me a selfie in a suit and said, "Ready for tomorrow?" I answered with one word. Yes. I put my phone down and started getting ready like it was any other Saturday, like my heart had not been rewired overnight. I took a shower that was too hot until my skin went pink and my thoughts went quiet. Then I stood in a towel and stared at my reflection, waiting for the old Tegan to show up, the one who would bargain with herself. The one who would say, "Maybe there is an explanation. Maybe you misread it. Maybe your father had a reason." But all I saw was a woman whose hands had finally stopped shaking. I chose a simple black dress and a blazer, something I would wear to a client meeting. Not because I wanted to look pretty, because I wanted to look credible. I pinned my hair back. I kept my makeup light. I wanted my face to say one thing steady. In my purse, the laminated pages sat flat in their folder, clean, silent, waiting. Reed arrived a little after sunset with a smile that used to make me feel safe. He offered his arm like we were still a couple. I took it. I let him lead me out to the car. I even let him open my door. It was not affection. It was evidence. On the drive downtown, he talked too much. He kept filling the air with easy sentences about parking and traffic and how crowded the ballroom would be. Every few minutes he glanced at me, checking for cracks. I gave him nothing. Halfway there, his phone lit up in the cup holder. He picked it up quickly, too quickly, and angled the screen away from me. He did not have to. I was not reaching for it. But my eyes caught the name anyway. Waverly. My stomach tightened, yet I kept my voice soft, almost kind. "She seems excited about tonight," I said. He swallowed. "Yeah, your cousin is really into this charity stuff. She is good with people." A small twist of heat moved through my chest. Not anger, not sadness, just the clean realization that he was already practicing a new story where he was the supportive man beside the woman who fits. I nodded slowly. "You are good with people too," I said. "You have always been." He relaxed, like I had handed him permission. When we arrived, the hotel lobby glowed with warm lights and polished marble. The smell of perfume and old money hung in the air. The ballroom doors were open, and a wall of sound spilled out, laughter, clinking glasses, the soft thump of music underneath it all. My father was already in his element. He stood near the entrance in a tailored suit, shaking hands, smiling like a man who believes he owns the room. My mother hovered beside him, sparkling earrings, perfect posture, her smile slightly too bright. Then I saw Waverly. She wore a pale dress that made her look effortless, like she had stepped out of a photo shoot. Her hair was glossy. Her lipstick was the exact shade that always looked better on her than it ever did on me. She was laughing at something Reed said, her hand resting on his forearm like it belonged there. When she noticed me, her smile barely changed. That was what chilled me. She did not flinch. She did not look guilty. She looked pleased, like she was watching a plan land on schedule. "Tegan," she called, walking toward me with open arms. I leaned in and hugged her lightly. Her perfume was sweet and expensive. Her cheek pressed against mine for a second longer than it needed to. It felt like a quiet warning. "I missed you," she said. "I missed you too," I answered. Another micro twist. Her hand slid down my arm and she paused, staring at the place where my engagement ring used to be. Her eyes flickered, quick, sharp, then she smiled again. "Oh," she said it like a question. I smiled back like we were discussing the weather. "It is for the best," I said. "Sometimes people want different things." Reed shifted beside her. The smallest movement, like a man trying to hide relief behind concern. Waverly touched her own necklace and nodded. "Totally. You are handling it so well." I wanted to laugh, not because it was funny, because it was so predictable. They had expected tears. They had expected a scene. They had built their timeline around my silence. So I gave them the version of me they thought they owned. "Thank you," I said. "I am trying to be practical." Waverly blinked, just once. Her smile tightened, then loosened again. My father stepped in before the moment could stretch. "There is my girl," he said, kissing my cheek like we were not strangers wearing the same last name. "Tonight is important. Lots of donors, lots of eyes." I looked at him and kept my voice calm. "I know, Dad." He patted Reed on the shoulder. "Good man, handling things maturely. We appreciate that." Reed nodded, humble, grateful. My mother squeezed my hand. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" I squeezed back. I did not let my face change. "I am fine, Mom. I just want a smooth night for you and Dad." Her eyes softened with relief. She believed me, or she wanted to. Then my brother Graham appeared, weaving through the crowd with a drink in one hand and that familiar look of worry on his face. The look he has when he senses something is wrong but cannot name it. He hugged me tightly. "You are really here," he said, like he did not trust his own eyes. I held him for a beat longer than usual. It grounded me. "I am here," I said, "for you, always." He pulled back and studied my face. "You look different." I forced a small smile. "Singapore will do that." He nodded, then leaned in, lowering his voice. "Dad has been acting weird all week. He keeps saying tonight has to go perfectly. He asked me to keep an eye on you, like he thinks you might do something." My heart beat once hard. I kept my tone gentle. "Did he say why?" Graham hesitated. "He asked if you were still upset about the breakup. He said you are emotional right now." I almost choked on the word. Emotional. Coming from the man who paid for a clean narrative. I kept my smile. "I am not emotional," I said. "I am clear." Graham frowned. "That is the thing that scares me more." I touched his arm. "Can you do me a favor?" I asked. "Anything." I opened my purse, just enough that only he could see the plain folder. "Hold this for me," I said. "Do not open it yet, just keep it on you." His eyes widened. "Tegan, what is that?" "Please," I said, "trust me. And when Dad gives his big toast later, the one he has been rehearsing, I want you to hand it to one person. Not everyone. One person." Graham swallowed. "Who?" I scanned the room and found the chair of the charity board, a woman in her 50s with silver hair and the kind of posture that makes people move out of her way. I had seen her name on the program, Arden Cole. She was also a managing partner at a law firm downtown. I knew that because my work brain never stops collecting facts. Her, I said quietly. Graham stared at the folder, then at my face. His voice dropped. Are you about to blow up the family? No. I whispered. I am about to stop letting them blow me up. Another micro twist hit then, small but deadly. Reed walked over holding 2 champagne flutes. He handed one to me with a gentle smile, like a man trying to look supportive in front of witnesses. You doing okay? He asked. I looked at him and let my voice stay soft. I am doing better than you think, I said. His smile faltered for half a second. Then he recovered. He always recovered. Good, he said. I am glad. I really want you to be happy. Behind him, Waverly watched us. Her eyes were not soft. They were measuring. I lifted the glass, took a tiny sip, then set it down untouched. I want you to be happy too, I said. That is why I am not going to make this messy. Reed exhaled like he had been holding his breath all day. Thank you, he said. You are incredible. I nodded, calm, almost warm. I know. His eyes widened slightly at my tone, but the music swelled and someone called his name, pulling him away. He left without looking back. The night rolled forward in glitter and noise. People applauded. People laughed. People bid on silent auction items. My father worked the room like he was conducting it. My mother smiled until her cheeks must have hurt. Waverly floated from group to group, charming and bright. Reed stayed near her like he had already been assigned. And I waited. Because I knew my father. He would not settle for a quiet breakup. He would want a replacement story fast. He would want to show everyone that nothing was lost, only upgraded. When the lights dimmed and the stage spotlight came on, my father stepped up to the microphone. The room softened into attention. Glasses stopped clinking. Conversations fell silent. My father smiled, proud, polished. Thank you all for being here tonight, he began. Graham shifted beside me, folder tucked under his arm, his knuckles white. My father continued, talking about generosity and community, his voice smooth as if nothing ugly ever happened in our family. Then he glanced toward our table. And before we end the night, he said, I want to share some wonderful personal news. My pulse stayed steady, but my stomach went cold. He lifted his glass higher. Sometimes life brings unexpected blessings, he said, and sometimes the right match was in front of us all along. Waverly straightened like she already knew the cue. Reed smiled, nervous, excited. My father looked right at them, then right at me, like he wanted to see me accept it. And in that exact second, Graham leaned close to my ear and whispered, Tegan, I just got a text from Mom. She says do not do anything stupid. I did not blink. I did not move. I only whispered back. Tell Arden Cole to meet me near the hallway door, right now. Arden Cole was already walking toward the hallway door when I got there, like she had been expecting my name to land in her night. Up close, she looked even sharper than she did from across the room. Calm eyes, measured steps. A woman who had spent her life watching powerful men talk themselves into believing they were untouchable. Graham hovered behind me, pale, jaw tight, clutching the folder like it weighed 100 pounds. Arden's gaze flicked from my face to the folder. She did not ask if this was personal. She asked the only question that mattered. Is this about the charity? She said. I kept my voice low, steady. It is about my father using this event to cover something he paid for, I said. And it is about him doing it through people who think money makes truth obedient. Graham swallowed hard and handed her the folder. Arden opened it right there in the hallway. The laminated pages slid out cleanly, glossy under the hotel lighting. Transfer receipt. Note about keeping the timeline clean. The email chain. My father's words. Waverly's reply. Arden read fast, not skimming, processing. Her expression did not change much, but her eyes sharpened like a blade finding its edge. Who else has seen this? She asked. Only my brother, I said, and me. Good, Arden said. That makes this simpler. Graham let out a shaky breath. What is going to happen? He asked. Arden looked at him, then back at me. "What you want to happen," she said. I could have asked for a scene. I could have asked for a public confrontation, a microphone, a scandal. The kind of revenge that makes everyone gasp and then forget 2 weeks later. But I had lived under my father's thumb long enough to know that loud drama is a gift. It lets men like him paint themselves as victims. It lets them say their daughter is unstable, emotional, impulsive. So I gave Arden my quiet version. "I want this handled like business," I said. "No yelling, no screaming, no family debate. I want the truth placed in the right hands. I want consequences that do not fade." Arden nodded once. "Then this is what will happen," she said. "I am the chair tonight. Your father is a guest, not a god. He will be removed from the stage. The board will be informed. Compliance will be involved. And if any funds connected to this event were misused, there will be an audit." Graham's face went white. "An audit," he repeated. Arden's eyes stayed on me. "The kind that does not care about family names," she said. A tight knot in my chest loosened, not because I felt safe, because for the first time in my life, my father's power was not the only gravity in the room. Arden slid the laminated pages back into the folder. "You did the right thing by documenting," she said. "You stayed calm. You kept it clean." The phrase hit like a quiet punch. My father's words turned into something he never meant. I nodded. "Thank you," I said. Arden held my gaze for a long second, then her eyes softened just slightly. "One more thing," she said. "I know your work. I read the financial coverage on the Singapore listing last year, the piece that called the CFO relentless and precise. That was you, wasn't it?" My throat tightened. That small recognition felt strangely intimate, like someone seeing the version of me my family refused to look at. "Yes," I said. Arden gave me a faint smile. "Good," she said. "Then you already understand what happens next. When a ledger is wrong, the numbers correct it. Always." She turned and walked back toward the ballroom like she owned every inch of the air. Graham stared at me. "Tegan," he whispered, "what did you just do?" I did not answer him right away. Because inside the ballroom, my father's voice rose into a practiced warmth. He was still at the microphone. He was still smiling. He was still building his clean narrative. We slipped back in through a side entrance. The room was focused on the stage. My father lifted his glass higher, proud as a king. "Sometimes," he said, "the right match was in front of us all along." Waverly's smile was set in place, bright and ready. Reed stood beside her, hands clasped, like he was about to receive an award. My father's eyes swept the crowd until they found me. They lingered there, testing me, waiting for my silence to bless him. Then Arden appeared at the edge of the stage with 2 board members and the hotel security manager. It happened so quietly most people did not notice at first. Arden leaned up toward my father, spoke into his ear, and my father's smile faltered. Just a small crack. He tried to keep the microphone, tried to keep control, but Arden's hand lifted, gentle and firm, signaling the sound tech. The microphone went dead. The room shifted. Confused murmurs rolled through the tables like a low wave. My father's mouth opened, but without the microphone, his authority shrank to a man making sounds no one was required to obey. Arden nodded toward the side of the stage. Security stepped forward, polite but immovable. My father's face went tight. He glanced across the room, and his eyes landed on me. For a second, I saw it. The calculation. The realization that I was not sitting quietly anymore, that I had placed proof into a system that did not care about his intentions. He stepped off the stage, walking stiffly, surrounded by people who were not his family and therefore were not trained to protect his image. My mother stood abruptly, panic flaring in her eyes. "What is happening?" she whispered. Waverly's smile collapsed. Reed looked like someone had ripped the floor out from under him. Graham's hand found my elbow. "Tegan," he said, "oh my God." I kept my posture relaxed. I looked like a woman watching a program change, not a woman watching her childhood burn. Arden returned to the microphone. "Now live again." "Ladies and gentlemen," she said calmly, "we are pausing the personal remarks. There is a board matter that requires immediate attention. Thank you for your patience. Please continue enjoying your evening." No accusations, no names, no spectacle. Just a smooth, professional removal of power. The crowd did what crowds always do. They resumed conversation, louder now, hungry for the story. Eyes flicked toward our table, whispers sharpened. My mother's breath came fast. She grabbed my hand. "Tegan," she hissed, "what did you do?" I turned to her. My voice stayed soft. "I told the truth to the right person," I said. Her eyes filled, not with anger, with fear, with grief, with the dawning understanding that something had been rotting in our family and I had finally stopped holding my nose. Across the room, Reed pushed through the crowd toward me. He looked frantic, sweat shining at his temples. "Tegan," he said, forcing a smile that did not land. "Can we talk?" Waverly followed him, her expression brittle, eyes glittering with rage she could not show too openly. "What is this?" Waverly snapped. "What did you say? What did you do?" I tilted my head slightly, like I was considering their questions seriously. "I did not say anything in the ballroom," I said. "I did not have to." Reed's voice went lower, urgent. "You are going to ruin everything," he whispered. I looked at him, and in that moment I realized I felt nothing for him. Not hate, not heartbreak, just the clean distance you feel when you finally see someone for exactly what they are. "No," I said. "I am going to let what you already did speak for itself." Waverly's nostrils flared. "You think you are better than me," she said. "You think because you ran away to some big job you can come back and punish everyone." I leaned in slightly, not close enough to be threatening, just close enough for my words to land. "I did not run away," I said softly. "I stepped out of the story you wrote for me." Reed's eyes darted to my mother, to Graham, to the starring guests. "Tegan, please," he said. "We can fix this. We can explain." I smiled, small, controlled. "You cannot explain a receipt," I said, "and you cannot marry your way out of a paper trail." His face drained of color. Waverly's hand clenched into a fist at her side, but she did not raise her voice. She could not here, not with everyone watching. So she did the only thing she knew how to do. She tried to wound me quietly. "You will be alone," she said, each word sharp. "You always end up alone." I let the silence stretch, just long enough for her confidence to wobble. Then I nodded once, calm. "Alone is better than being bought," I said. Graham stepped between us, finally finding his spine. "Go away," he told Reed. "Go." Reed hesitated, then turned, pulling Waverly with him, both of them suddenly small in a room they thought belonged to them. My mother's hand trembled in mine. "Is your father going to be arrested?" she whispered. I looked toward the hallway. I could see Arden speaking with two men in suits. My father stood a few feet away, jaw clenched, trapped in a conversation he did not control. I did not know what would happen next exactly, but I knew the direction, and for once, direction was enough. "I do not know," I said, "but he is finally going to be audited." My mother's eyes squeezed shut. A tear slid down her cheek. I wanted to comfort her. I did, but I also remembered the years she watched my father shrink me and called it discipline. I remembered the way she told me to be the bigger person, the way she praised my silence like it was virtue. So I kept my voice gentle but firm. "Mom," I said, "I am done being the bigger person in a family that stays small on purpose." She nodded slowly, like the words hurt and healed at the same time. The rest of the night moved in strange fragments. Guests kept dancing. The band kept playing. Champagne kept pouring, but the air had changed. The power had shifted. At the end, Graham walked me to the exit. His eyes were red, but his grip on my hand was steady. "I am sorry," he said. "I am sorry I did not see it. I am sorry I helped him manage you." I squeezed his hand back. "You saw it tonight," I said. "That is enough." Outside, the cold air hit my face, and I inhaled like it was my first real breath in years. My phone buzzed in my coat pocket. One new email. From Arden Cole. Subject line, referral. I opened it. It was a single sentence and an attachment request. If you ever want to join a board that invests in women like you instead of selling them, call me. I stared at it, and something in my chest lifted. I did not need my father's money. I did not need his approval. I did not need to scream to be heard. I slipped my phone back into my pocket, stepped into the night, and felt the cleanest kind of revenge settle into my bones. My father paid $50,000 for my silence, and I used the silence to take back my life.